Advisor Stephen Miller sounding off on the standoff in Washington. We're just days away from the government partially shutting down if no compromise is reached. Let's bring in Brandon Judd, president of the National Border Patrol Council. First, though, Brandon, I want to listen to Stephen Miller from the White House on this.
At stake is the question of whether or not the United States remains a sovereign country, whether or not we can establish and enforce rules for entrance into our country. The Democrat Party has a simple choice. They can either choose to fight for America's working class or to promote illegal immigration.
That was Stephen Miller, senior advisor to the president, Brandon, on what he sees is at stake in all of this. How do you lay it out for the American people?
Well, if you listen to Stephen Miller, what he said there, you're almost hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. And minus the president, you're talking about the top 8 on immigration. From a Border Patrol standpoint, from a standpoint of somebody who puts on a uniform, goes out and patrols the border, I have skin in the game. This will affect me. This will affect me personally. It will affect my personal life. And I can tell you that I support 100% the president if he chooses to shut down the government over the border wall. We have to have border security. We have to end this debate. And the border wall is one of those key components that will allow us to finally secure our border and put to bed this question once and for all.
Here's the way the president puts it in a tweet this morning saying, quote, at stake is the question over whether or not which one is it? Anytime you hear a Democrat saying that you can have good border security without a wall, write them off as just another politician following the party line. Time for us to save billions of dollars a year and have, at the same time, far greater safety and control. With an exclamation mark there, this is a shutdown showdown, Brandon. One side's got to give. Who is it going to be, or which side is it going to be?
Well, I hope it's going to be the Democrats. You know, the Democrats have recognized that physical barriers are absolutely necessary. They voted for it, you know, in recent history. So if you look at it, you have to ask yourself, why are they not going for it now? This is about politics. This isn't about the American public. It isn't about what the American public has demanded, which is border security. This is about securing the votes for their base. It's not about the American public, and that's got to stop. And we're hoping that, again, that the Democrats do, in fact, blink.
Here's Kevin McAleenan from the Customs and Border Patrol.
Right now, we see families going all the way out to the most remote areas of the border, Antelope Wells area of New Mexico, and crossing in large groups. Anytime we have barrier, it prevents that kind of activity.
You know, you hear that, and you hear these firsthand accounts of what exactly is being seen, what's happening at the border, and you wonder, when we look at this debate that is happening in Washington right now, we just wonder, where is this all going to end? Here we're up against the final days of the year. Brandon, final word.
Well, if you look at it, Antelope Wells, that's very close to my old stomping grounds. I used to work in that area. And once again, I can tell you that if you look at the areas where we have placed fences, physical barriers, illegal immigration has dropped exponentially. And so why anybody would think that that's not going to work if we expand that out, they're absolutely wrong. Again, the Democrats need to get on board with this. The American public wants it. Let's get it done.
And by the way, the president tweeted this yesterday on the treatment of families, responding to Democrat criticism, saying, quote, the Democrats' policy of child separation on the border during the Obama administration, far worse than the way we handle it now. He writes, remember the 2014 picture of children in cages, the Obama years. However, if you don't separate, far more people will come. Smugglers use the kids. Brandon Judd, great to get an update from you. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Sandra.
About 20 minutes before the hour now, Sunday Night Football.